Everyone in my family was gay. Except for my parents. The day my older brother brought his boyfriend home, my dad popped a bottle of blood pressure pills, and my mom downed an entire vial of heart rescue drops. Trying to soothe their nerves, my brother patted their shoulders and said, "Don't worry, we still have Corey Allen. As long as he stays straight, you two will be grandparents someday." Jackson Watson, my so-called good buddy, and I stared at each other in stunned silence. Then, without warning, Jackson dropped to one knee in front of them. "Auntie, Uncle, can I start calling you Grandpa and Grandma instead? That way, you'll have a grandson already." That day, my father smiled. It was the kind of smile that looked like it belonged in a horror movie. The four of us? We ran like hell. Welcome to He History Channel. Subscribe to follow all our latest adventures. Story begins. Dad, Mom, this is Mason Taylor. He's my boyfriend. We've been together for 3 years, and we're planning to register our marriage in New Zealand. This isn't a discussion, it's a notice. I love him, and I hope you'll give us your blessing. The moment my brother finished speaking, even the mosquitoes in the house went silent. The hand I was secretly holding under the dining table was slick with sweat, palm pressed against palm. In that long stretch of silence, it felt like I could hear everything. My own heartbeat, the buzz in my ears, the crackle of tension in the air. Just as I nervously tried to slip my hand out of Jackson Watson's grasp, my dad finally spoke. "My head hurts." I bolted for his blood pressure meds. He downed them in one go. "My heart hurts," my mom choked out. Jackson darted out to get her quick relief heart drops. She knocked them back like a shot. "Oscar Allen, have you lost your mind? You like men? Do you have any idea how many old geezers I had to fight off in the park's matchmaking corner just to find you a wife? Your father and I were out there every day, staking out the best spot. No wonder they say if a man isn't married by 30, he's either impotent or gay. Looks like they were right about you." Mom fired the first shot. Oscar just sat there calmly sipping his soup like he couldn't hear a word. His boyfriend, Mason Taylor, was blushing so hard he looked like he was about to melt into the chair. Head lowered, posture stiff, barely breathing. I knew him. We went to college together. Back when he was still straight. He'd asked me about grad school once, and by chance ended up applying to the same academic program as my brother. My brother was doing a PhD, Mason a master's. Mentor and mentee. I never did figure out how those two ended up together. But hey, love works in mysterious ways. When my mom finally ran out of steam, my dad grabbed a cane and charged at them. "I'm going to beat some sense into you. You were perfectly normal as a kid. What the hell happened?" Oscar shielded Mason without hesitation. "Hit me if you want, but leave him alone." Dad landed a few angry smacks before his rage deflated like a punctured balloon. "Useless brat. Today's my 60th birthday and you pull this? What a good son you are. What, you think I just retired and have too much peace in my life? Trying to give me a heart attack, is that it?" Oscar stood his ground. "We're in love. I really love him. And anyway, you still have another son, don't you? Corey Allen is straight. You two will get your grandchild eventually. I promise." The moment he said that, I panicked. Because I'd also planned to come out with my boyfriend today. My instincts screamed, if I didn't speak up now, I might never get the chance. I dragged Jackson Watson to the side and hissed, "Say something, babe. Say something." He stammered for a bit. "I'll think of something." A moment later, he suddenly dropped to his knees like a man facing execution. "Uncle Auntie, can I call you Grandpa and Grandma from now on? I'm really well behaved. Low maintenance. I come with a self-cleaning mode. If you'd prefer a naughty grandson, I can learn to roll on the floor and scream too." My parents, who had just managed to calm down, exploded all over again. My dad threw up his hands. "What is wrong with you kids? Back in my day, we weren't like this. Where the hell did we go wrong?" Mom muttered, "We need to call an exorcist." Oscar stared at me, betrayed. "You're gay too?" I rolled my eyes. "You're one to talk." The house descended into chaos. It ended with all four of us getting kicked out the front door. The slam behind us was loud, final, strangely liberating. In the dark stairwell, the two couples huddled together in victory, sealing our successful coming outs with obnoxiously loud kisses. Then, something possessed us. A sudden competitive streak lit up between us. We kissed louder, harder, trying to see whose smooching could echo loud enough to make the ancient stairwell light flicker back to life. 5 minutes in, Dad ripped the door open, his patience spent. "Get out! All 4 of you, get out. That damn light's been broken for years. It won't turn on." We scattered like roaches, laughing so hard I nearly twisted my ankle on the stairs. Lunch had been a disaster. The afternoon? Fights and beatings. By sundown, we were starving. Oscar led us to a late-night barbecue joint. "To bravery," he said, lifting a beer. Like a true man, he ordered kidneys. I turned up my nose. "Too gamey. I'm not touching that." Oscar scoffed. "Pathetic. Those are for down there." "Me? Excuse me? How would you know?" He took a deep swig. "Real men always order kidneys, chives, and oysters at barbecue. Gotta keep the system in check." I sneered. "Sounds like someone's not up to the task anymore. What is it they say? Men peak at 25, then it's all downhill. Guess you'll be spending your nights just talking." To really rub it in, I sent him a link to kidney supplements and gave Mason Taylor a wink. "If he's healthy, you'll be happy." Oscar slammed his chopsticks down. "Corey Allen, do you have a death wish?" I took a long sip of my drink, smirking. "Not at all. I plan to grow old with my honey." "Oh, right, bro. Didn't you say you wanted to register your marriage in the States? Can I tag along? I'd like to get my license with my honey too." Oscar shot me a look. "Honey, huh? Then tell me, how the hell did you end up with Jackson Watson? Weren't you two at each other's throats all through college? Let's make a deal. You tell me your love story with Mason, I'll tell you mine. Trading tales? Now that sounded fun. And hey, since my big brother was finally curious, I figured I might as well spill everything. It was a night for honesty, after all. It's a long story between me and Jackson Watson. Then give me the short version. The way we ended up together was unexpected. We were mortal enemies before we ever became lovers. 6 years of hating each other. Not even 4 years of dating yet. From age 12 to 18, we were close buddies. From 19 to 22, we turned into boyfriends. He was the stepson from my aunt's second marriage. Not anymore, though, they've divorced. So there's technically no blood tie between us. Back when we first met, we couldn't stand each other. Every time we crossed paths, we fought like cats and dogs. The reason was simple. His mother had escaped an abusive marriage. His father was a complete scumbag, violent, manipulative. But my aunt? Love-brained and hopeless. She wouldn't listen to reason. Even my dad, her older brother, couldn't change her mind. So, naturally, we didn't welcome Jackson warmly. He wasn't our family, not really, and we couldn't force ourselves to love him. At best, we faked a bit of politeness. But the truth was, he was pitiful. Though he was half a year older than me when we first met, he was a head shorter. Thin as a rail, skin bruised from head to toe, beaten senseless by his own father. His dad didn't dare lay a hand on my aunt. He knew my dad wouldn't tolerate that. But Jackson? He had no one. No one to defend him. Even if he got beaten half to death, no one would intervene. My mom felt sorry for him. When she found out Jackson liked Lego, she gave him mine. I almost flipped the entire house when I realized they were gone. Seeing how furious I was, my mom got nervous. She took me to my aunt's place and got my Lego back. Even bought me KFC to calm me down. But because of that, Jackson almost got beaten to death by his dad. When I found out, I was overwhelmed with guilt. I spent all my saved-up allowance to buy him more Lego sets. After that, Jackson ended up transferring into my class. I hated it. Every time I saw him, I remembered he'd touched my Lego. My OCD went wild. He was wearing my old hand-me-down clothes. That lit my competitive fire. Even if my things were falling apart, I didn't want him using them. So I picked on him constantly. Found fault with everything he did. Seeing him upset made me happy. But Jackson? He fought back just as fiercely. Our house was close to school, so he'd come home for lunch. The school had just shifted to summer hours. Lunch and a nap were mandatory. But we only had 3 rooms. My parents had one. My older brother had one. I had the last one. Oscar was in high school, so obviously Jackson couldn't bunk with him, which left my room. I refused. I claimed I had OCD. Said he wasn't allowed to touch my stuff. At first, he slept on the floor. We didn't even have a spare mattress, so it was cold, hard tile. He ended up with constant stomachaches, running to the bathroom all the time. Then one day, he saw me casually sharing spicy snacks with classmates. Filthy, finger-licking spicy sticks. That's when it hit him. I didn't have OCD. I just didn't like him. From that day on, he stopped caring about my so-called rules. I told him not to sleep on my bed. He jumped right on. Told him not to touch me. He got even more handsy. I touched you, so what? What are you gonna do, kill me? Didn't you say you have OCD? I'll make you just as dirty as me. Still think I'm disgusting now? Those 2 years in middle school, we lived like that, brawling every day. Our parents were at their wits' end. Eventually, they asked Oscar for advice. Oscar Allen, our wicked little genius of a brother. He suggested, since they hate each other so much, just make them spend more time together. Hate lasts longer than love anyway. They're not gonna get along no matter what. So instead of endless fights, enroll them in a martial arts class. Let them beat the crap out of each other under supervision. Mom thought it made sense. Since they were already fighting nonstop, might as well get them trained properly. And it just so happened bullying in local schools was making headlines. One kid even left a suicide note and jumped. My mom's a journalist. She'd been following the case closely. On our way to sign up for martial arts, she warned us over and over. You two can fight at home all you want, but outside, you present a united front. You're brothers. We started training. And our relationship? Improved drastically. Because fighting hurt a lot more now. Neither of us wanted to keep getting wrecked in sparring matches, so we cooled it. Mutual ceasefire. The real turning point? The year my aunt and uncle started their messy divorce. We were about to enter senior year. She'd finally had enough. His violence, his weird habits, his drinking. She was done. Ready to burn everything down, if that's what it took to break free. Jackson wasn't allowed to come to our house anymore. No more lunches. No more naps. He moved into the school dorms, 8 kids to a room. But we were still in the same class. I sat up front. Model student. He sat all the way in the back, barely listening, always on his phone, reading novels or dozing off. He'd stop trying. And yet somehow, that's when things really started to shift. Because Jackson had a solid academic foundation, no matter how checked out he was, he could still manage to scrape by in the middle of the class. Most teachers didn't bother with him anymore. But my mom was worried. She believed that dragging a child into adult problems could ruin their entire future. And besides, Jackson had spent 5 years putting on a golden boy act in front of her. His favorability score with her was maxed out. Any sign of trouble from him, my mom would panic harder than his own mother ever did. But she didn't want to hurt his pride, so she started nudging me, subtly, persistently, asking me to bring up school with him. So one Sunday I went to his dorm to check in. And I walked in on him getting bullied. I beat the hell out of the guy messing with him, grabbed Jackson by the collar, and dragged him home. On the way back, he kept resisting. Your aunt and my dad are divorced. You and I have nothing to do with each other anymore. Stop butting into my life. I punched him straight in the face. Without another word, he launched one right back. We ended up brawling in a back alley until neither of us could stand. In the end, we limped home together, half collapsed, propping each other up like 2 idiots. Afraid my mom would notice our injuries, we stopped by a tiny clinic to get medicine, then climbed up to the rooftop to clean each other's wounds. He asked me again, "Why'd you come find me?" I replied, "You think I wanted to? My mom made me. She told me not to listen to what your dad said. That he was wrong. That you should just focus on your studies. No one can predict what comes next." Then he asked, "What about you? What do you want to say to me?" I leaned over and blew gently on the gash on his shoulder. I don't know. Just, don't do anything you'll regret later. He let out a quiet, okay. I poked Jackson Watson's bicep. So, why'd you kiss me that time? He grinned. Been wanting to for a while. I raised an eyebrow. What? You liked me that early? Considering how rocky our relationship used to be, and how often I used to mess with him, I tried to avoid bringing up the past too much after we started dating. No point reminding him of my bullying. I didn't want to tempt fate. But now that the conversation was already open, I was honestly curious. Jackson Watson, when exactly did you start liking me? He handed me a napkin. Honestly, it wasn't that early. I hated your guts, actually. You remember back in freshman year of college, why I suddenly confessed to you? Jackson Watson had always known he wasn't the kind of kid people liked. His dad was a drunk, angry, loud, and violent. Drunk, he hit people to vent. Sober, he hit people just to get drinking money. Despite that, his dad had a decent-looking face. Good enough to attract other women, bad enough to keep mistreating them. Eventually, his mother couldn't take it anymore. She filed for divorce. Jackson thought that would finally be his break. He was desperate to leave with her. God knew how much he wanted to leave. But God wasn't helping. His dad argued that because Jackson was a boy, he should stay with him. His mom lost that battle in court. Jackson stayed behind in the Watson household. Later, his dad started seeing a woman in the city, one who couldn't have kids. So he brought Jackson over and forced him to call her mom. Jackson refused. So the beatings resumed. Just like before. The first time anyone ever showed him kindness was at the Allen house. He called them uncle and aunt. Auntie took pity on him and treated him well, but carefully, trying not to hurt his pride. Oscar Allen, the eldest, was a full 3 years older, academic, aloof, always reading, not someone a couple of kids could play with. Corey Allen, though, was only half a year younger. A total chatterbox. Ignored by his brother, he turned to Jackson instead. But he refused to call Jackson Big Bro. Said, "You're shorter than me. So you're the little one." One time, Corey built 2 Lego figures, one small and skinny, clearly Jackson, and one tall and heroic, clearly himself. Before Jackson left, Auntie asked if he wanted anything. He said he wanted those 2 Lego pieces. Because in his 12 years of life, 12 years of beatings, of sneers, of silence, no one had ever looked at his face that long without pity or disgust. Corey had just looked and built something that resembled him. Maybe that was the moment Jackson decided that no matter how cruel Corey Allen might get in the future, he'd always have a free pass in his heart. When Jackson finished speaking, I was so stunned I forgot to chew. Eventually, I chomped, swallowed my chicken wing, then pointed at him. "You little punk. So that's how it was? If I'd known, I wouldn't have tattled on you to my mom. You stole my Lego without telling me. I thought you were a thief." He scratched his head, a little sheepish. "Yeah. I asked your mom but didn't ask you. That was on me. I'm sorry." I patted my chest dramatically. "Poor baby. Want me to build you another one later? My heart's breaking for you." Jackson nodded enthusiastically. "You're the best, babe." Oscar Allen, ever the scheming mastermind, pushed up his glasses and said thoughtfully, "For years of dating and I didn't even notice? You two really know how to keep secrets." I poured him a fresh glass of beer. "Didn't you and Mason Taylor keep yours from me too?" My brother gave me a glance and said coolly, "That's called strategic silence." Jackson, eager to keep us from going off topic, quickly continued his story. Even though Jackson eventually had to give back the Lego figure of himself, and even though he got beat for it, he'd curled up in bed afterward, holding himself and muttering that he'd never play with Corey Allen again. But when he saw Corey at the clinic, eyes full of guilt and worry, he softened. Corey probably didn't mean for that to happen. After all, Corey had never been beaten by his parents. He had no way of knowing that a small act, like taking a toy, could mean pain for someone else. In that moment, all of Jackson's resentment faded into envy. He wanted a normal family too. So when Corey shyly handed over a new Lego as an apology, Jackson accepted it. And when Auntie invited him to come over for lunch every day after that, he started saying yes. Jackson Watson was overjoyed. He knew how warm that family was. And he couldn't help but wonder, if he'd been born into a home like that, would he still be so envious of others? Corey Allen refused to let him sleep in the bed, so he laid out a thin mat on the floor. Even if the cold made him run to the bathroom 10 times a day, he was willing. Because anything was better than going home. At home, his father wouldn't dare hit the new stepmom, so whenever he got mad, he used Jackson as his punching bag. A beating was a beating. And it hurt. No one ever gets used to pain. Not even the parts of the body that get hit the most. Every time, the pain bent him double. He'd heard that sometimes people died from getting beaten. And he didn't want to die. His mother was still out there, waiting for him to grow up. It was during their Sonda training that Corey Allen suddenly didn't seem so annoying anymore. Because the two of them used to fight constantly. Not real fights, nothing life-threatening, but bad enough to drive the parents crazy. So, on Oscar Allen's advice, they were both enrolled in a Sonda class. There was a boy in that class who came from the same small town as Jackson. He knew Jackson's story. And he took every chance he could to throw nasty jabs at him. You're learning Sonda? What? Planning to grow up and beat your wife like your dad? Ever heard of criminal genetics? People like you are born violent. Just wait, you'll be even worse than your old man. Oh right, isn't your dad supposed to be handsome? You look like him too. Maybe you can both be gigolos. Jackson turned pale. He'd never thought about that. That violence might be something inherited. He didn't want to be like his father. All that hatred, all that anger, it twisted into something worse, fear of himself. He spiraled. Until Corey Allen showed up. He shot out like a firecracker and beat the guy senseless. Then he shouted, I don't know if Jackson Watson has criminal genes, but I do know your family has a genetic disorder for running their damn mouths. You should buy a lock the next time you go out, chain your lips shut. Otherwise, don't blame anyone if your tongue gets cut off. And hey, I'm being nice by using my fist today. If I hear you talk crap again, I'll use my feet next time, and I play soccer. Trust me, my cleats reek. On the way home, they were both quiet. Corey scratched the back of his neck awkwardly. Finally, at the entrance of their building, he tugged on Jackson's sleeve. I didn't really mean all that. I was just trying to scare him. Also, my feet don't actually stink. Jackson burst out laughing. What an idiot. Like it even mattered. It's not like anyone was gonna sniff his shoes to check. But the more Jackson laughed, the more that lump in his throat ached. I didn't care about what he said. I was just scared he might be right. We've known each other almost 3 years, and I've been fighting you almost every day. What if I did inherit my dad's violence? Corey punched him lightly in the arm. What kind of dumb thought is that? We fight because I always started. If you didn't fight back, I'd think you had a screw loose. You're just reacting like a normal person. That's not some gene talking. By that logic, I've got violent genes too. We're beating each other up daily. Nah, what we do is closer to warm-up stretches. Doesn't even count. Don't let other people's words mess with your head. You don't even listen to your own parents. Why listen to strangers? Something in me let go after that. Suddenly, Corey Allen didn't look so irritating anymore. All our fights, maybe they really were just childish bickering. They'd never left scars. Thank God. That meant neither of us had those so-called violent genes. In our second year of high school, my stepmom finally filed for divorce. Before she left, she asked for my thoughts. I didn't hesitate. I've been waiting for this day forever. Please, go. She left me a sum of money, enough to pay for college. All I could say was thank you. The day she packed up and moved out, I helped her carry the bags. As she was leaving, I called out, She broke down. After 5 years, it was the first time I'd called her that. After she left, my father somehow found out about the money. He forbade me from attending school, tied me up, and beat me until I passed out. Demanded I hand it over. But I kept insisting, I didn't have it. Because I didn't. I'd already given it to my birth mother. I knew what my father would do, so I had planned ahead. Once he realized I really didn't have it, he let me go. But his hatred for my stepmother boiled over. He banned me from having any contact with the Allen family. So I stopped talking to Corey. Stopped studying. Let the future go to hell. This world had never been kind to me. Why should I care about pleasing it? But I knew Corey Allen still watched me. Still left food in my desk drawer. Thanksgiving turkey legs. Weekend spaghetti. Auntie's homemade lasagna. Every time I ate it, I cried. I cried for myself, for the life I could have had. Other people's 18 looked bright, full of color. Mine was pitch black. I never did my homework. But the math teacher never noticed. Because Corey Allen was the class rep for math. He knew things couldn't go on like this forever. He wanted a real home too. So when Corey Allen came to his dorm one afternoon, Jackson intentionally provoked the campus bully, took 2 hard punches to the gut just to set the stage. Sure enough, Corey Allen lost it. Beat the guy bloody. Then insisted on taking Jackson home. On the way there, Jackson tried to push him away, test the waters. My dad and your aunt are divorced. You and I have nothing to do with each other anymore. Stop getting involved in my business. Corey Allen punched him. For the first time ever, he didn't hold back. Jackson's temper flared immediately, and without a word, he lunged at him. They fought in a narrow alley until they couldn't stand anymore. Bruised and breathless, they limped home side by side. Worried Auntie might see the bruises, they stopped at a clinic to buy medicine, then snuck up to the rooftop to tend to each other's wounds. Corey was extra careful, dabbing ointment slowly, blowing gently on the raw skin. Jackson deliberately stirred the pot. Why'd you even come find me? Corey grumbled, gruff as always. You think I wanted to? My mom told me to come talk some sense into you. She said your dad was wrong. Told me to tell you to keep studying. That no one can predict the future. Jackson looked at him, quiet. What about you? What do you want to say to me? Corey blew softly across a scrape on his shoulder. I don't know what to say. Just, don't do anything you'll regret. Regret? The next day, Jackson Watson started paying attention in class. Because for the first time, someone actually wanted him to get better. After that, everything fell into place like it was meant to. They became desk mates. Studied day and night. Their grades slowly evened out. When college entrance exams came, they applied to the same university, same major. They got in, but ended up in different dorms. That summer, Jackson's dad got drunk again and demanded to go fishing. Jackson refused. His dad beat him with the fishing rod. Jackson clenched his fists, but still didn't dare fight back. That's when Corey Allen arrived, delivering the college admission forms. When he saw Jackson get hit again and again, not even raising a hand to defend himself, Corey snapped. He charged forward and beat Jackson's dad into the dirt. Jackson doesn't hit you because he's decent, Corey growled. I'm not. I've got zero decency. If I ever see you hit him again, I swear I'll smash your face every time. I've hated you from the beginning. You're not a man. You beat 2 wives out the door and treat your son like a punching bag. You even sent your own parents to the hospital more than once. Are you even human? If you can't control your hands, then just go die already. Jackson stared at him, stunned. How could someone look that good while being that furious? Compared to Corey, he felt so small. So cowardly. He admitted as much. Corey's response? Another punch. Kids who grow up getting hit, no matter how old they are always gonna flinch around their parents. But you fight back when I hit you, don't you? You're not weak, Jackson. I've watched your life since we were kids. If I were you, I'd have fallen apart a long time ago. But you've already made it. 637 on your entrance exam, 6'2", good looks, eats like a champ, morals in the right place, and last week? You pushed that old man's wheelchair for 4 blocks. There's no one braver than you. That broke him. Jackson Watson cried. After that, every memory he had of Corey Allen shimmered with color. He knew it, he'd fallen for his so-called good buddy. In college, Jackson confessed. He thought Corey would freak out. Or need time. Instead, Corey said yes almost instantly. The next 4 years? Study. Part-time jobs. Hustling like mad. They spent every extra cent on hotel rooms. So in Jackson Watson's eyes. Our story had a whole other version. I guess he's a bit of a romantic. I mean, he is handsome. A good person. Plenty of people like him. Plenty of people have fought for him. I wasn't special in that. But he secretly fell for me, so he looked at everything I did through rose-colored glasses. And me? I fell for him because he was kind, righteous, and fundamentally good. Even after we got together, things were honestly sweet. No drama. No third wheels. Just the two of us, seeing only each other. I'd so much as cough, and he'd have cold meds ready before I even asked. He remembered every word I forgot I'd said. Sometimes he cared more about my life than I did. We were too busy loving each other to argue. I was just about to say something cheesy. Then Jackson pulled out a bouquet of blazing red roses and dropped to one knee. "Corey Allen," he said, "will you marry me? I love you. I want to start a family with you. Please think about it seriously." I held out my hand, grinning. "Of course I will." What a surprise. In my heart, Jackson Watson had always been the composed one. Sure, he'd joke around with me, act goofy just to make me laugh. But deep down, he was serious. Methodical. Always thinking 5 steps ahead. So this proposal? Definitely planned in advance. Just as I was voicing my suspicions, Oscar Allen snapped his fingers. "Bingo! Took you long enough. Jackson Watson's way smarter than you. He figured out me and Mason Taylor a while ago. He reached out to me first, said he was planning to come out with you today. I told him I'd be bringing Mason home too, and he figured why not do it together? Oh, and throw in a proposal while he's at it." Looking back, all 3 of them were amazing actors. The only real victims that day were our parents. Because the blood pressure meds and heart pills were very real. So was the shock. So, I looked at my brother. "So you're not going to tell me how you and Mason Taylor got together?" He rolled his eyes. "Tell you what? My husband's sleepy. I'm taking him home to bed." I glanced at Mason. He did look drowsy, but not that sleepy. I glared at my brother. "Choosing your man over your brother. You don't take promises seriously." He gave me a sheepish grin. "I just spent the whole day acting in your romantic comedy. If not for credit, at least pity me, will you? Let me go enjoy my sweet time in peace." When we got back to the place Jackson and I were renting, it was already 4 p.m. Early summer, but the heat was unbearable. I stripped down to nothing, cranked the AC, and flopped on the bed to cool off, grinning like a fool as I admired the engagement ring on my finger. I grabbed my phone to check the proposal post I'd uploaded earlier, curious who'd liked it. That's when I saw my brother's latest post. Oscar had uploaded a photo of Mason holding a bouquet of roses. The caption read, "Told you, I wouldn't let you lose." I was about to yell at him for copying me, until I saw our dad's post. It was a picture of my mom holding her bouquet. "Honey, you're all I've got." The 3 posts were lined up neatly, one after the other. Was this a planned move? Hard to tell. That night, in the middle of some athletic activity with Jackson Watson, I suddenly asked, "Do you think our whole family's brainwashed by love?" He bit me. Where'd that come from? I just realized. None of us are into posting on social media. But today we all did, and it was all about confessing love. Jackson burst out laughing, chest shaking. "Babe, we're different." I frowned. "How?" "They were showing off their wives." "You were showing off your husband." The moment it hit me, my face turned redder than a tomato. "Shut up." "No. You're infuriating." "Don't die mad." For 2 whole weeks, our parents didn't contact us. 2 stubborn ninjas waiting to see who'd break first. In the end, Dad caved. He dropped a long voice note in the family group chat. When we clicked on it, it was just, "This weekend, all 4 of you come home. We need to talk." We returned home, nervous, expecting a showdown. They surprised us. They agreed to everything. Dad sighed. "We're old now. Can't control you anymore. Do whatever you want. But your mom deserves some pity. She's basically been living in a boys' dorm for years. Used to be 3 guys, now it's 5. Mom chuckled through her tears. "That's your dad, sharp tongue, soft heart. You kids are ours. We watched you grow up. We just don't want to make your lives harder, or turn into the kind of parents you'll resent one day." You're all smart. All doing well. We trust you won't make the wrong choices. There's only one thing I want to say. If you've chosen each other, treat it seriously. It's not easy to find someone who fits you. Don't let others shake your faith. We all ended up bawling in the living room. Mom cried the hardest. She muttered, "It must have been all those double male protagonist romances I read during pregnancy." She said when she was pregnant with my brother, she liked dominant top stories. When she was pregnant with me, she preferred submissive bottom ones. My brother and I locked eyes across the room, then groaned and smacked our own thighs in embarrassment. Some things really don't need to be said out loud. After graduation, Jackson and I threw ourselves into applying for U.S. marriage visas. We both got into grad school at our university, so we had the summer off. We planned to register our marriage with my brother and Mason. My parents wanted to come too. But Dad had work, so it ended up just the four of us. Once we arrived, we rushed to get the paperwork done. Then we exchanged vows in a small chapel. I've never been big on God, or ghosts really. But in that moment, I found myself praying that He'd bless us with a lifetime together. After all, men like Jackson Watson? You don't get two chances. His love was never loud, but it was constant. In college, we'd go on campus dates. The campus was full of greenery. And bugs. I'm allergic to mosquito bites. Most people get a bump, I get a full-blown blister. Bug sprays don't work anymore. So Jackson walked beside me with an electric mosquito swatter, zapping bugs all the way. Never once complained. There were times I forgot what I'd said, but he didn't. Every tiny detail in our rented apartment, the cozy touches, the thoughtful decor, came from things I'd said offhand. I told him I wanted a big floor-to-ceiling window. And a swing next to it. He made it all happen. After we returned home from abroad, both Jackson and I joined our respective graduate research groups. As is the fate of every postgrad student, July marked the inevitable entry into lab life. Mason Taylor had it easy, he was under my brother's guidance. The two of them going to work together looked more like a couple's morning date than a job. Jackson and I, on the other hand, found ourselves in an in-building long-distance relationship, on different floors, different labs, seeing each other only in passing. What really pushed it into absurdity, though, was our 6-person family group chat. It had basically become a full-blown love life Olympics. If my dad cooked that day, Mason and I were guaranteed to receive homemade love bento boxes from our boyfriends. If the other two couples bought flowers, a bouquet would show up at my door not long after. I figured it out. They were bored, and all of them were treating this like a romantic arms race. So, of course, I couldn't just sit back and lose. I posted my own couple update in the group chat. Honey made me a heart-shaped fried egg this morning. Delicious. Soon after, my mom uploaded a bear-shaped one. Then Mason posted a star-shaped version. Was it childish? Absolutely. But was it fun? Incredibly. Extra chapter. Oscar Allen times Mason Taylor. I'm Oscar Allen. Mason Taylor was my little brother's college roommate. But he was also my classmate in the Go Academy back in elementary school. Even though we were 3 years apart, our skill level was similar, so we ended up in the same group. Mason was a crybaby. He cried when he was happy, cried when he was upset. But he played an amazing game of Go. We shared a desk. So naturally, the job of calming him down fell to me. Every day, I'd scowl and keep an eye on him, just waiting to see whether he'd burst into tears again. Honestly, I didn't even look after my own little brother with that much care. Yet here I was, doting on someone else's. The realization frustrated me to no end. Later, I accidentally discovered why he cried so often. It was because the little badge he liked to wear wasn't pinned correctly. He thought sticking the pin into his shirt was good enough. Turns out he'd been stabbing himself with the sharp end every single day. By the time I noticed, the area over his chest looked like a pin cushion. And yet he still managed to win game after game while in pain. Back then, my only impression of Mason Taylor was a smart idiot. We reconnected years later, when my brother recommended Mason to me for grad school. His name was unusual enough that when it popped up in my inbox, I immediately remembered. The genius little crybaby from Go class. I'd planned to tease him about it, but he clearly didn't remember any of it. So I let it go. I'm not the type to embarrass people for fun. At first, our conversations were purely academic. Study materials, professors, career tracks. Nothing personal. But over time, maybe because of the way habits form, when two people start sharing their daily lives regularly, that's the start of a story. We went to a top school. The competition to get into our own grad programs was brutal. Mason had started prepping for the entrance exams as early as sophomore year. I invited him to get familiar with our lab. Let him tag along on experiments. Originally, I'd hoped my brother would join my research group too. But he was too busy being in love. Didn't even answer my texts. He mocked me instead. Called me a lonely dog who only dated bacteria. I was furious. But when I imagined what it might be like to date someone, Mason Taylor's face was the first that came to mind. That's when I realized I was not straight. Must have inhaled too much citronella as a kid. No wonder people say, if a man isn't married by 30, he's either impotent or gay. Guess they were right about you. Obviously. Before I could even plan how to pursue him, Mason beat me to it. He confessed first. That day, I nearly cried. I wanted to thank every deity, every constellation, every butterfly that flapped its wings in the Amazon. I'd never imagined the person I liked would also like me, and confess first, no less. Corey once said that someone like me would never find love, that I'd probably end up with a fake gamer girl in an MMO, pretending to be my wife. But joke's on him. I don't even play games. And Mason Taylor came into my life anyway. He loved me. He chose me. As for my dad's 60th birthday dinner, half of that chaos was staged so we could all come out. The other half? So Jackson could propose to Corey. At first, I didn't know much about the two of them. When I found out they were dating, I was shocked. They'd been rivals since childhood. I seriously worried it was all a long con. Like they were pretending to be in love just to take each other down from the inside. But later, I realized I was being paranoid. They were so in love. One time, I bumped into them on campus. They were walking hand in hand, totally lost in their own little world, kissing every few steps. I followed behind them for nearly 15 minutes. They never noticed me. What could I do? All I could do was bless them. A lifetime of happiness for Jackson and Corey. And of course, a lifetime of happiness for me and my moss. The end.
Thanks for stopping by. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos.